G'day, welcome to Realms of Power. My name's Dr. Tony Rudd and I'm the host of this show. The purpose of Realms of Power is to turn your true aligned power on, or turn your tap on, as we like to say. We broke this down into 12 different realms in our very first episode, and we've had a whole lot of guests come on the show to help with their specific area that might help you turn your power on. Now, this is designed for people that might be stuck somewhere, down on their power, low on energy, or just want to live their most unbelievable, magnificent life. So my background is a chiropractor for 25 years, helping people turn their power on through alignment and optimizing of their nervous system. I've seen such phenomenal change. I've also been a life coach in the personal development field for almost 20 years, helping people physically, chemically, emotionally, spiritually, all the different realms. And it's been an honor to be able to help so many people. That's why we've done this podcast. Now, if you'd like to find out more, I have a personal website on www.tonyrudd.com.au, and we have a Facebook page for Realms of Power to access all the episodes. They're available on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all of the different platforms as well. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Have an awesome day. See ya.
G'day, Dr. Tony here with Realms of Power podcast. And today I've got the amazing Peter Haddad. Peter, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks, Tone. It's great to be here. Really appreciate the invite.
Oh, mate, it's fantastic you coming along. And I know you've been involved in workshops with myself for many, many years in supporting and leadership roles. And you've done so many things to help people turn their power on. So I certainly am very excited to see where this goes. And you and I both know we're going to probably wing it today. So who knows where this one will end up.
I think that's what we do best, Tone. I think it's just we make it up as we go.
And look, sometimes that's life, isn't it? You can have a plan. And as we well know, plans can sometimes be foiled. So in turning on your power, look, some of the times it's actually how you react to those really interesting, weird situations. Let's just start there, man, because that's the vibe I'm feeling. How would you say the ability to react to different situations importance is when we're turning someone's power on?
Yeah, look, that's really interesting. And look, while you were just talking then, I was having a mega reflection on, could even be the last year. I always think in life we've got all our ducks in a row and we work towards, you can call it purpose and goals and everything else that we want to do. But whether you believe in the universe or whatever's happening out there, it tends to go, well, I understand you're going in that direction, but I'm just going to put this here to see how you handle it. and sometimes it's a brick wall. Sometimes it's just a little step, maybe a speed bump. Sometimes it's a complete redirection. And the biggest ability for somebody is to be able to look at that situation and go, okay, what do I need to learn out of this? Why do I suddenly have barrier put in front of me? Rather than just go, throw their hands in the air, throw the baby out with the bathwater, and then just go, well, stuff it, I'm done, kind of me. If they look at it and go, well, hang on, something is telling me something here. And then being able to pull that back and to reevaluate where you are, because you know what, there may be just something in your planning you didn't see.
Yep.
Whereas if you drop into that reaction, if we call it that, all you see is what's gone wrong. And in that moment, what's actually happening around you is that there's other positive things happening around you that you're not actually seeing.
And look, sometimes that's very hard to see in the moment. And as being a coach and leader, we've been challenged. Definitely, we're very human. We've all been challenged. But what would you say in terms of your study of human dynamics? How can the listener here to this podcast use what you've said in a nutshell and in a learning or a wisdom to, really not react so much, but look at that bigger picture in the moment?
Yeah, I think, and I can probably take this from a real personal perspective here, Tony, is really before I got to fully understand myself, I would react And by the time I reacted, one, I would actually leave some carnage behind me that I'd have to then go back and clean up.
Yep.
You know, and that was always the thing that I just went, oh, damn, I've done it again. It's really having that presence and awareness about yourself and really feeling into your body and feeling in your body and go, oh my God, this is creating a really negative reaction in me. And being able to, in a way, self-regulate that enables you to stop or slow down and actually start to evaluate and actually respond rather than react. It's checking in with yourself, and we all feel it. Everyone feels something is not right, but it may be 2 or 3 days later before you suddenly realize what that is. But you feel it in your body first. And I think talk about embodiment, and it's about being able to keep in touch with yourself. That keeps you all powered up.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, your professional life is a coach, either a personal coach or you're a trainer in your professional capacity. You've helped people over many, many years in all sorts of different realms, in the professional realm, in the personal realm. So you get to see as the coach and give feedback to those people in the moment. And you can reflect on your own experiences as well in terms of really taking up that next level. What's another key you found in your study of human dynamics that would help people with that exact situation?
I think in the dynamic of life, and we talk about men knowing their purpose in life, and that is really a big key. That if you've got something to focus on, you can go up any level you want. If you truly understand your purpose, and why do you get out of bed every morning? Why do you take a breath? Why are you put on this earth? If you understand that purpose and you keep working towards that, and you're not allowing other things to distract and pull you off that journey or that path that you're on, it really does keep you in a present state. And that present state that you sit in allows you to go to any level you want. It just becomes innate in you. So it's more about getting to understand yourself more and what you really want out of life.
Yeah, well, I love that. One of the realms of power we've got specifically just for life purpose, because it is an absolute key. And I know you work with women as well, but let's talk about men for a sec, because men are often classified, I guess, as the breadwinner or have to earn the living or do the job, but that doesn't necessarily mean their job is their purpose. Can you speak into purpose of what you've discovered for more clarity?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I know for myself, I my trade is the automotive trade. Man, I finally left that and become a coach and a trainer. And when I say a trainer, I train within colleges and help people change their direction and career in life and things like that. What I suddenly realized in looking back over my life, and I mean going all the way back to 8 years of age, education and educating people used to really fascinate me and fill me up, even as an 8-year-old. And there have been 8 different times in my life where I've had that opportunity. However, I didn't step into it because I was being the breadwinner, and I had to do the 9 to 5 thing, and had to keep the money coming into the household and all those sort of things. And it just didn't allow me that space to go, oh my God, what do I really want? I got stuck in that mundane thing of life. And when I finally got to that point, and sometimes in a lot of cases, especially for men, it's kind of when the kids are done, they've done their school and everything, they're starting to get their life together and things like that. Then you suddenly look in a mirror and go, well, they're okay. What about me? And for me, that's kind of what happened to me. And I spent probably 5 years working on finding what my ideal life was. And I just quite couldn't get there until I discovered this purpose. Oh my God, my purpose is all around education and helping people change their life and their career. And that links in both what I do in the training environment, but it also links into my coaching as well. Once I found that, I suddenly realized I'm actually on purpose now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, like I said, that's really a big thing. Really a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And in current society, there are pressures, the financial pressure you mentioned, also political pressure, family dynamic pressure, relationship pressure. And each of those can be another one of the realms that comes in. And as men, again, we tend to probably be okay at focus once we've got that focus, but are we focusing on the right thing? And that's where you talk about purpose. You and I have, been around that workshop for so many years and seen people just, they can't even answer that question. They can't even speak into it with clarity and certainty. And if they get challenged, or get pushed, they will just revert back to I've just got to go back to work on Monday. So, what's a common theme with the way the society is right now that you're finding, the generational thing, the different, psychology of the political, country and we're in, that would help them really get that focus on purpose, other than just, I've got to work for my purpose.
Yeah, and it's can be a throwaway phrase too. I just got to find my purpose out, and it's a lot more than involved in that, and it usually does doing some kind of work either with a coach or doing some work with other people yourself. You know what it's like when you're helping somebody actually find their way. It's interesting. I kind of look at a lot of our younger generations, and there's kind of a gap in the middle there where I really feel like they're kind of lost in that arena. I'm really looking at probably the 30 to 45-year-olds, and they're kind of not sure. They really are bogged down in that 9 to 5 thing. And the tough thing about today's climate is it's not just about them. It's they got to have their partners working as well to be able to basically sustain a lifestyle. Whereas if you look at our really young generations coming through now, man, they're doing a lot of different things, and they're doing a lot of stuff online and all of that sort of stuff. And they're actually doing really, really well out of it. However, you look at, is what they're doing sustainable, and how long will it go for? And do they really have a purpose for that? Or is it simply just a means to an end? I'm still looking at that side of it for the younger generations. Haven't really been able to get enough data or history on that to determine where that's really going to end up. Time's going to sort that one out and have a look at it. It's like I said, it now pulls in the mum and dad, if you want to say that, or the partners, and they're both on that treadmill now. Yeah, so it's really a different dynamic out there in today's society.
Yep.
So,
yeah, well, I love what you said about it can be a throwaway line, that purpose. We can give it lip service in personal growth field, but it's different for everyone, and they've got to have that excitement. They've got to have that smile when they're talking about it. You can hear it in their tone, in their body language. When they're on fire, they don't even realize that they're just on fire, and they're talking about it. And they're like, I'm excited about so-and-so. And you're just like, yeah, really? You sure? Call them out on it. Yeah.
The old saying, the talk's not matching the walk, is it? But like you said, when you see someone on purpose, it's effortless as well.
Yeah.
It's just like you go, oh my God, you haven't even raised a sweat.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to be in a big arena or anything else like that. It can be in common everyday stuff that we're doing, that sort of thing. So it's interesting. I mean, and then you kind of said, even though we are talking a little bit about men, I remember when my dad passed about 10 years, and I was talking to my mum about 3 months after, and I'll always remember what she said to me. I said, oh, Mum, what are you going to do now? You need to do something. She said, well, Pete, I don't know what to do because I've lost my purpose in life. And it really took me back to hear a woman talk about that, especially of that generation. And I went, what do you mean, Mum? And she went, well, my purpose was to look after your father, raise your kids. She said, well, you guys are all looking after yourself, and now Dad's gone. She said, it's just back to me. And I went, oh, wow, I really felt that. I think if a man's got his purpose, and in relationships today, where they're both working and doing what they're doing, I think they both need to be really clear on that, especially in a partnership.
But it is standing in your power, the more clarity you have around that. Let's look at the flip side of that, because I think this topic, there was something you said there, it just sort of led me into the emotion that a lot of people have, is regret. When they have regret, when their time is gone and ticked along with those things, and they haven't achieved their purpose or haven't achieved what they've set out, or they've finished their purpose and retired, or they've finished their purpose and their partner's died, and then they're like, what now? And people often have regret. Talk to me about the emotion of regret in your experience.
Yeah, regret, when you're dropping it into an emotion, it can borderline depression, really, when you stop and think about it. It's interesting you talk about that. It's a big thing when people retire. And I've heard this, people say, oh, when I retire, I'm going to travel.
Yeah.
And they get to that point of retirement and they physically can't travel.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh my God, I'm stuck now. And that becomes like a weight on them. I said it's very similar to depression. They actually feel the weight of regret, and it actually holds them stagnant. And that can be quite destructive to a human being. Unless they can shake that off and find a different direction out from underneath it, it can actually consume them. And that's their emotions. That's that emotion of and regret of, oh my God, why didn't I do this 10 years ago or 15 years ago when I was physically capable? And even actually a lovely gentleman, a great mate of ours, Don Horsfall, that you've had on Realms of Power. He once said to me, I said, oh, mate, you did a really big trip overseas. And he went, yeah, it cost X amount and blah, blah, blah. I went, wow. I said, yeah. I said, you wouldn't wait till you're retired to do that. And he said, why would I do that? He said, while I'm earning money, and he said, I can go and spend that money. Now I can earn it back again. He said, when you retire, and this is the other side of regret, when you retire, you get that and you suddenly go, hang on a minute, I've got not a lot of income. I've got fixed dollars. I actually can't go and spend $30,000 or $40,000 on a trip overseas now. Then you have that kind of regret kicking in. It's a little bit different to the other one.
Yeah.
It's not big as of a burden and a deeper emotion that sits in the body.
Yeah.
But it still leaves you with that feeling of, why didn't I?
Why didn't I? Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, some people sit in denial of regret, and they might just go, well, I've just got to go back to work. I've just got to get on with it. And they're suppressing or denying their guilt. What do you see in people's bodies? If you were looking at someone, you can almost see the regret, can't you? With the amount of work you've done, I know you can see energy, you can see people's body fields. What do you see when they're in regret but denying it and not standing in their power?
There is only one way to describe that, and that is the look of defeat. What's the saying? Life can beat you down. And it's like that, but it's a complete another look of defeat, and you can see it. They suddenly get old. Old. They could be 40 years old and hit regret about things that they haven't done, and they're suddenly looking 50. It ages people really badly. So it really does kick in at a deep, deep level, and it kind of eats away inside of them, and they have that defeated look about them, even how they walk or how they move and how they interact with people. And you sit there and you go, oh my God, life is just something has slammed you down. And 9 times out of 10, when you start talking to them, out pops regret. And it's and then they haven't dealt with that and found a way to reset that. How can I now look at my life differently to reset and go possibly in a different direction? I may not be able to get what I wanted to get, but what can I do?
That is standing in your power again. And it might be a 3% or a 5%. It might not be that 150% anymore. And then you've got the flip side, which is the youth going, right, I think I can do all of this. I've got all these online opportunities. And then they might end up with, oh, I wish I had done X, Y, and Z, and might lead to regret if they're not clear on their purpose. So it keeps coming back to that, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Like in the colleges where I work, you see some of these younger people coming through that have dropped out of school and haven't completed educations. And look, there's a multitude of reasons why that happens. And you can see them, they're trying to now make something from themselves, but you can see the regret in them of not completed some form of education. And now they're trying to do it, but they're trying to do that as an adult. And that's a challenge. Even as a mid 20-year-old person, that's still a challenge to think, oh God, I'm going back to school. And it's that mindset that drops them in. And instead of switching the mindset and going, actually, I'm building my future. That's what I'm doing. I'm making myself better to build a different future for myself.
Yeah.
And that's the mindsets that I put people into when they are hitting that. So, yeah.
Can you think of an example of either yourself or someone you might have helped? Because I know you do personal coaching as well. You do one-on-one coaching, you do group coaching, you do all sorts of different amazing things. Can you think of an example that might pop into your head that might relate to this topic and how you've maybe coached someone through or coached yourself through or helped someone in that realm?
Yeah, I've had to coach myself through that one a few times. And, like it is. I know for myself, I kind of put all my ducks in a row, and with COVID came along, and I had this really good renovating business that I was doing, and I was making really, really good money. And I went, right, I've got the absolute direction here. I know what it's for and everything else. And then all of a sudden I went, oh, I really think the climate's changing and there's something shifting. And yeah, I was lucky enough to sort of consolidate what I was doing. However, for probably about 6 months, I was really in this poor mindset and a real funk of, oh my God, I've lost everything. And I had my plan of earning X amount, $100,000 a year doing this and that. And I went, oh my God, it's all gone. What am I going to do now? And I had to shift my mindset to go, well, hang on a minute. What have you got? And so I shifted that. I went, oh my God, look at what I've got. Look at what I've achieved. Once I realized that, I went, okay, now I need to shift my direction. Because I was kind of like, oh, I got on this great wave and suddenly the wave disappeared. And I'm in dead still water and sitting on a surfboard doing nothing. So I had to shift my mindset and have a look around me and go, oh, okay, I need to go back into this direction, more into the coaching, more into the training. This was just something that was sustaining a financial income for me.
Yes.
It wasn't where my purpose lay. It wasn't where my real power sat. It was something I was using to rebuild finances. So yeah, it was having to reshift that mindset there.
Sometimes, yeah, it's self-coaching, and sometimes there's a benefit of having a coach or having someone support you. What have you noticed by being surrounded by people, whether it's coaches or continually showing up to fine-tune, sharpen the sword, keep yourself going? What's the power in that for someone? Because we can all go to a seminar, or we can all go and read a book, or we can go and get all inspired, and then we can drop off again. How important would you say is it to stay in the game, to stay in the hunt, to keep the skill sharpened?
Well, it is staying in the game, but it's also, who do you surround yourself with? What are the quality? Is it the quality of your net worth is the measured by your network? I think the saying goes. And if you surround yourself with like-minded people, like it's that saying, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. If you are, you're in the wrong room. Surround yourself by people that are not afraid to be transparent with you and to go, hey, I can actually see you're going in a direction you shouldn't be going in here. Or you can put your hand up and go, hey, I really need some support here. And you can drop into a coaching session with somebody and they can work through things with you. And I think that is such a success strategy for anybody, is to surround yourself by good quality people that will lift you up. Like I said, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room.
And how do you know, if you were to judge that, how would you know you are surrounded by, I say the smartest, but it could be just, how do you know you're actually surrounding yourself with those good quality people? Is that intuition? Is it a sense or feedback or an energy you feel? Are you feeling at ease? What's the thing that you've noticed? Like, if people looked at their closest 10 people they hang around, they don't want to be judgmental and necessarily cut people immediately out of their life, because it always is different with family and dynamics going on. But how would you judge that or take that into improving your power, improving your performance without being basically not in alignment with your ethics and principles.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the conversations you're having with the people around you. You always have that. I have that tight knit around me. They're the people that what I call my inner circle, and those people are there. But I don't just rely on those people in my conversations with other people and interactions and everything else. And I'm going, wow, this is a really good interaction with this person. They're really open. They're transparent. They're prepared to listen to both sides of a story, and that they're not too afraid to actually speak their mind and their truth. Whereas a lot of people will hold back, and I can really feel when someone's holding something back. And for me, I'll pull back from that person because I go, why is it that you're afraid to say what's on your mind? And yes, sometimes it's in the delivery of that. But like I said, I notice it in the interactions with people. When you walk into a group, you can quickly ascertain who are the people I would like to spend and have a couple of hours of a conversation with. And you also see the people that you go, maybe not those ones. And it's not about judgment. It's about understanding what is going to be a positive impact on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take that up a notch, because you and I both know we've worked with family dynamics and parental challenges. And so when people have their parents, they can't change their parents, but they might have regrets about, things in their upbringing or holding on to things from parental things. And that can translate through their whole life. And then it's that classic song, I wish I'd spoken to him before he died. You've lost your father. I've lost my father. I understand that we all have a limited time here. How important would you say in clearing out regret and surrounding yourself with those people is the relationship with your parents?
Oh, look, Tony, that is probably one of the key factors, really, when you stop and look at it. When you lose a parent or both parents, and you have that regret that you go, wow, I really didn't either acknowledge them, or I didn't really relate to them, or I judged them. There are so many people that go, oh, I haven't spoken to my father or my mother in 10 years. And they actually wear it like a badge of honor. And you got to understand in a lot of ways that the years or what the generations that our parents grew up in is really, really different to what we grew up in. This is what the rules were then for them. This is how society was. This is what society said. This is normal. You look at disciplining your children, giving them a smack on the butt, in those days. Man, you do that these days and oh my God, you're on domestic violence charges by your kids. Yeah. But being able to step through and step back into that realm of your parents and we use the word forgiving them in a way that they were absolutely doing their best. They were doing the best they could. And being able to acknowledge that really breaks down those barriers for you to be able to forgive them. But that's probably one of the biggest things in society, I think, when you come to regret. Once they're gone, they're gone. You can't do anything about that. It's final. It's a finality. And people leave it till the very, very last minute. I know with my dad, it was probably, about 5 or 6 years before he passed. And I sat down one day and had a really good conversation with him and just told him all the things I loved about him. For me, when he passed, I was really complete on that. Done the same thing with my mum. My mum's still here. However, by clearing that with my dad, when he did go, I was really good. I had no regrets there. And that was such a beautiful thing. So it is a big thing in society these days. There's that disconnect of the family unit. So, yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Pete. I could really feel your heart and your emotion there, and hopefully the listeners get a sense of that. And if one person listens to this episode and has the courage to be the first one to step into acknowledging maybe a broken or a damaged relationship, forgiving, realizing they were probably doing the best they could. And, they may well have stuffed up as well, and they might not own up to that. Another trick of that is if that's too awkward and they won't accept your call or or your headspace, you can sort of just sit and meditate and imagine you're speaking to their higher self. It doesn't even have to be face to face or in person. You can just acknowledge what their higher self would say to you. And that could be a powerful back technique if what you're saying, for whatever reason doesn't work. There could be a lot of awkwardness. There can be the awkward hug. There can be that. But I tell you what, would you say that it's worth it, mate, to take that step?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, that disconnect of the family unit is such a big thing. We are human beings. We're tribal. We really, really are.
Yeah.
It is, to say it's in our DNA is actually an understatement.
Yeah.
Being tribal and community is such a big thing. And, I know growing up as a kid, man, we knew all the neighbors. We knew all the kids. We played out in the street and things like that, mate. I've got to say, where I live right now, I actually talk to one set of neighbors and have never spoken to the other one. And they give a wave and that's about it.
Yeah.
And, by being able to have that family unit, and I'm incredibly lucky with my family. We have a really tight unit and yeah, we get a bit dysfunctional with each other, but it's fun. But for society in general these days, being able to walk back into that, and like you said, you may not have to physically face them because there's been some really traumatic events for people's lives growing up as kids and everything else. And it's really about yourself and being able to have that acceptance. Acceptance is a great word, that they were doing their best and you're happy to forgive them for what they did because they didn't know, actually allows you to move forward without that regret.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. All right. Well, look, we probably better wrap up this episode, mate. It's been amazing, as always, chatting with you. And yeah, if someone gets something out of this episode about healing something with their parents or getting clear on their life purpose, I think that's amazing. In one or two sentences, give me a final bit of wisdom of how someone could turn their power on.
My biggest thing is get to know you. If you know you and you love you for who you are, that will turn anybody's power on because you're not relying on external forces to turn your power on. You need to be able to do it yourself, because if you rely externally, man, you're going to be running out all the time. But when it comes from within, it's a never-ending source.
Oh, geez. Mate, what a great bit of wisdom to wrap up this episode. Now, Pete, I know you're usually flat out with coaching clients. Have you got any space? If anyone wants to get in contact with you, how would they do that?
Tony, always will try to fit anybody in. It's just, like I said, it's a purpose in life to support people where I can, and they can give me a call.
Yep.
I operate Excalibur Coaching.
Yep.
It's a very unique name. It's all about sovereignty, and I love that word. And it's about you finding who you are. So that's my kind of goal with helping people locate them and find them and be able to turn their own power on internally. Once they've done that, I actually become redundant, which is what I love, because their power themselves up.
Oh, man, I love it. All right. Well, Pete, thanks heaps for coming on the show, buddy. For the listeners, have an awesome day. See ya.
All right. Thanks, Tony. Cheers.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Realms of Power. I have such gratitude for your time and energy and the vision to join us with turning your true aligned power on. To take your power up another level, you could share this episode with someone who you think would benefit, or make a comment online that would help us get this information out there. We'd really appreciate your love and support. Hope you have an awesome day. See ya.